Hey y'all, I'm back on my bullshit. Today we're gonna be doing a story time. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, then I posted a few weeks ago. I was like, what do y'all want me to do a story time on? And I had a list of options. The one that won is obviously the one I'm gonna tell you about now. So this is He Cheated with a Hooker. All right, so let's get started. So pretty much I was 20 years old at the time, so this was like 5 years ago because I'm 25 now. So understand that I'm a different Ariana than I was in the past. Like, I'm not the same. You know, half a decade then went by. I've grown, I've elevated as a person. So I just want to get that out the way first. So let's get started. My nephew had to have brain surgery, and I was like up all night, and I couldn't really go to bed. So my ex-boyfriend, who we're gonna call him Rooney, right? So Rooney, that's what we're calling him. I was dating Rooney for a couple of months. I couldn't go to bed because my nephew he had to have his brain surgery or whatever. So he called me. It's probably like 3, 4 in the morning. He calls me and we're on the phone talking, and he just starts talking about like his ex-girlfriend and how pretty she was and just a bunch of bullshit that I shouldn't have been on the phone listening to, or that I really didn't care about. He just was telling me how pretty she was and how she got on drugs and she was a prostitute and all of this stuff. So I'm like, okay. Okay. So I don't know how much longer it was after that, either a few days or a few weeks after that. I'm at home. This is important. I'm telling you this for a reason. So just, you know, just bear with me. So I'm at home a few weeks later or so, or a few days later. I'm at home minding my own business, trying to like learn how to cook and stuff like that. Cause mind you, I was only like 20 at the time. I was kind of spoiled. So like, I'm feeling good about myself. I'm learning how to cook. I'm in the kitchen minding my business. I go to the room or whatever, and then I get a phone call from Rooney. So I'm like, okay, like, let me answer my nigga calling me. Let me pick up the phone. So I answer the phone and I'm like, hello? And then it's not Rooney. It is the Los Angeles Police Department. It's LAPD. It's a cop. And so I'm like, hello? And then they're like, yeah, this is me from, like, I'm an officer, I'm a cop or whatever.
I'm LAPD.
And I caught Rooney speeding, and it looks like him and the girl he's with is on drugs. So all I heard was girl. Fuck the other stuff, fuck the speeding, fuck the whatever. All I heard was girl. So I'm like, what? So he's like, yeah, him and the girl he would look like they on drugs, and I don't want to just I don't want to give them the car, and if nobody can come get it, like, we're gonna repo the car. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, what does the girl look like? He's like, she's light-skinned, she has curly hair and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, this don't sound like no bitch she didn't introduce me to within the like, this don't sound like nobody I know. I'm like, okay, put him on the phone. So he gets on the phone. I'm like, what? Who you with? He like, oh, I'm with my cousin. I'm like, what cousin? He's like, can you please just come get the car, please? Like, I don't want them to take my shit. Like, please come get the car. I'm like, what cousin are you with? Like, what are you talking about? He was like, you don't know her? Like, just please come get the car. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be there in a few minutes or whatever. Now, my car had just broke down like earlier that week. I had a Nissan Altima 99, and that shit croaked. So I'm like, oh my god. Mind you, it's like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. So I hop on the bus, the 207. If you from LA, you know. So I hop on the 207. Phone finna die and everything. Phone like on 1-2%. So hop on the bus, my shit dies. So I used a stranger on the bus. I used her phone, and I was like, can I please, you know, use your phone or whatever? My phone dead. I gotta call my boyfriend. So I call him, and I'm like, I'm on my way right now. Like, he's like, all right, cool. So I get to girl, I get to 37th and Western, where the library is. If you from LA, you know. But I get over there, and that's not the prettiest place to be. That's in the hood where they do it most good.
We're down in the hood where they did it most good.
I get over there, whatever. This motherfucker is nowhere to be motherfucking found. So I'm like, what's going on here? So people honking at me. I'm like, what is going on? Like, he needs to come get me. So I see like a little, you know, a little Latino homie or whatever. So I'm like, can I use your phone? Because at that point my shit was gone. It was dead. So I'm like, can I use your phone? He like, yeah. He like, but let's walk this way because it's dangerous over here. They be shooting over here, which I already knew, but I'm like, all right, whatever. So I call him. I'm like, where the fuck are you at? Like, where are you? Like, I'm here waiting on you. Where are you at? So he's like, oh, the officer let us go. Like, we gone or whatever. And I'm like, well, you need to come back because I'm over here by myself. So you need to come back.
Hey, come back.
So he's like, all right, I'm gonna come back. So me and the little Latino dude walking or whatever, like we're walking south towards like the Burger King and shit like that. So so we walking south, and then he pulls up, only he's not the driver. Cousin is the driver.
Cousin. What's up, cousin? What's up?
So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is a dream. Like, this is not real life. So he pull up. He had a Mercedes. He had a two-door Mercedes. So he pull up. He hop out the car. He trying to fight the little Latino homie. And then I'm like, bro, leave him the fuck alone. What are you doing? Who the fuck is this? All of this. So we arguing on Western.
The ghetto. The ghetto.
And then I hop in the car or whatever, cause like we kind of not like she pulled over or whatever, but we're like, you know, we need to just get the fuck off of the street. So I hop in the back or whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, who is this? Like, he's like, this is my friend, this is my friend. I said, you his friend? Who are you? Like, who the fuck are you? Period. I've never seen you in my life. The car is running out of gas, of course. The car's running out of gas, so we pull up she pulls up to the gas station or whatever. He gets out the car to pump the gas. So I'm in the car asking her questions because I have questions. So I'm like, who are you? And I'm like, she's like, oh, I'm his friend. Like, she was like jittery and like shaky. Like, it did seem like she was on something. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, so are you fucking him? I just have to ask the questions. I'm just here to ask the questions, you feel me? So I'm like, okay, so is this your nigga? Because I thought this was my nigga, and I'm just trying to figure it out. So I'm like, are you fucking him? She's like, no, we're just friends. So I kind of relaxed a little bit because I'm like, oh, well, she said that's just the friend or whatever. He just a friend. So, you know, I'm not thinking too much of it as much anymore. I'm still like, yeah, but I'm not, you know, going as hard as I was, because it's like, I didn't know females will lie about shit. Like, after he gets back in the car, he gets in the back seat with me because he sensed that I was finna sock him in the back of his head. Domestic violence is never the answer. But so he gets in the back with me, and I'm like, you're playing with me right now? Like, you know, I'm talking shit, like ready to domestic violence is not the answer. But I'm in the back talking shit, and he's like trying to explain himself. No, this a friend, this not like that, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, she needs to take me home since she want to drive all night and shit like that. She needs to take me home. So she takes me home. I get out the car and we break up. Come to find out, I later found out that this is the girl. This is the hooker. This is his ex-girlfriend who was also on drugs as well. And it's so much that come with this story, y'all. Like, it's so much that come, because we broke up, but my stupid self ended up getting back with him.
You are really dumb, for real.
And like I said, I'm not the same Ariana that I was 5 years ago. And he was like, I was 20 at the time. He was like 20, he was like 27, 28 or something like that. So I just had, everything about that situation was just wrong. I feel like when it's that big of a gap and you're that young, like, you can be easily manipulated and all of that stuff. But I don't even want to get into all of that. The point is, what ended up happening was we broke up. We ended up getting back together. I ended up finding out so much more stuff that I could do separate story times on. But yeah, so he was cheating. He was cheating on me with her. And yeah, I mean, just trust me, I found out. I ended up going to his cousin's house, and his cousin's girlfriend actually, like, I was telling her, like, oh yeah, I caught him with oh girl or whatever, and yada yada yippee. She was like, oh yeah, he be bringing her to the house. See, now you're embarrassing me. Now you're playing with me, right?
You playing with the fuck me, right?
So that's just a whole nother story for a whole nother time, because stuff really started to go left, like to the left. Like, when I found that out, it was just no bueno. The whole relationship was toxic as fuck, and I just had no business dating Rooney at all. Like, it was just all bad. Like, my life was a spiral. It was on bullshit. But I'm glad I'm out of that situation. I'll have more story times. I'll do them like sporadically throughout the year or something like that. But this is the one that y'all requested, and this is the one that I did. Crazy thing is, I had a story. I had this one, and I had the one my 22nd birthday. There was a falling out. I had my first interracial date, and I had my 24th birthday when I went to New Orleans. Those were like the options that I had, and everybody picked this one. The second one was the one where I had a falling out on my 22nd birthday. Crazy thing is, the most interesting one is the one when I went to New Orleans, like, but nobody picked that one. So maybe I'll do a story time on that one day, because that was so lit. But anyways, thank y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all as usual. If y'all have any comments, please leave them down below. If y'all have any questions, please don't ask me no question. But y'all should follow me on Instagram, because that's where I do the little poll things. So if y'all want to have a say so on things that I post or story times that I do, then that's a great platform to see what I'm up to, and to see, like, to be able to put your vote in. So I really, you know, like, that's the platform for that. Anyways, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and bye.